You already lost the moment you opened your mouth to explain yourself. They weren't listening. They were studying you. Every time you explained your choices, your motives, your pain, you handed them the map to your weakness. They mapped every entry point. You thought being honest made you trustworthy. It made you predictable. And predictable people are the easiest ones to control. This is not philosophy. This is survival. And right now, somewhere in your life, someone is using your openness against you. The people disrespecting you are not stronger than you. They simply learned one thing you haven't. Silence is control. You have been reacting your entire life. Defending. Explaining. Chasing validation. And every reaction made them bolder against you. Today that changes. These are Machiavelli's 7 darkest psychological rules. The ones they never put in the history books. These rules were not written for kings alone. They were written for anyone tired of being underestimated, manipulated, and quietly destroyed. If you feel like you are working harder than everyone but receiving less respect, you are playing by rules that were designed against you. Stop. Listen. What you are about to hear will be uncomfortable. It will feel personal. Because it is. It is about you. 7 rules. 12 minutes. And a version of yourself on the other side who will never be manipulated the same way again. Pay attention. Not with your emotions. With your intelligence. Your emotions have already cost you enough in this life. Here is what nobody told you about the social world you were born into. It is not designed to reward the good. It rewards the strategic. Your empathy was used as a door. Your honesty became a key. And people who smiled at your face used both to walk through your defenses. You were taught that vulnerability creates connection. That is true, but only with safe people. Most people are not safe people. Think about every time you explained yourself fully. Did it earn you respect? Or did it simply give them more ammunition against you? Empathy is not the problem. Misplaced empathy is. Giving deep emotional access to people who only see your depth as a resource to mine. They called you too sensitive. Too emotional. Too intense. Translation: you were harder to control when you trusted your own perception. Fairness is a concept the powerful invented to give the powerless hope. It keeps you waiting at a table that was never set for you. Drop this in the comments. I will stop explaining myself to people who don't deserve the access. The social hierarchy around you is not random. It is maintained by who controls their reactions. Reactors serve. Controllers rule. You were taught that explaining yourself creates understanding. What it actually creates is dependency on their approval to feel valid. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. Remember that as you absorb what follows. Use awareness, not cruelty. Every time you chase someone's approval, you told them exactly what you feared. And fear, in the wrong hands, is a leash. Machiavelli watched courts, councils, and kingdoms. He watched the same thing everywhere. Weak reactions destroyed reputations faster than any enemy. He also watched something else. He watched the ones who said nothing, who revealed nothing, who became impossible to predict. They survived. Not because silence is passive, but because silence forces others to reveal themselves first. And the one who reveals first always loses position. You have been playing a game where you show your hand first every single time. Then wondering why you keep losing at the table. From this moment, you hold your cards differently. You watch more than you speak. You feel more than you show. This is the beginning. Now, Machiavelli. The man Florence tried to silence. The man history tried to demonize. Because he told the truth about power. Niccolo Machiavelli. Born 1469. Florence, Italy. Diplomat. Prisoner. Exile. He watched power from the inside, then wrote what he actually saw. He was not a monster. He was a mirror. He held it up to human nature and recorded what he found, without flinching from the truth. He watched princes crumble. Not from enemies. From their own need to be loved, to be seen as good, to be understood and validated. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." But most people miss the second half of that sentence. He meant, the ideal is both. Respected and warm. But if forced to choose, choose the one that requires no begging to maintain. He was not teaching cruelty. He was teaching psychological survival in a world that has always been exactly this way. Honest. Brutal. Real. Now. 7 dark rules. Each one will cost you something. The version of yourself that was still naive. That version needs to die today. Rule 1. Never react publicly to provocation. Your visible reaction is the only weapon your enemy actually needs from you. Think about a time someone provoked you publicly. What did you do? You reacted. You defended. You gave them exactly what they came for. The moment you react, they have won. Not the argument. Something more valuable, they now know your pressure points. Permanently. Machiavelli's answer: stillness. Cold stillness. The face of a man who has decided your provocation is beneath his level of attention. Practice this. When someone provokes you next time, pause. Breathe. Let the silence expand until it fills the entire room with your control. There was a specific moment. You may not remember it, but they do. It was the first time you explained yourself when you did not have to. You explained because you thought clarity would create understanding. What it created was a blueprint. They filed it and used it later. Rule 2. Never explain your decisions to people who are not affected by them. Explanation seeks approval. Approval is surrender. Think about your last major life decision. Did you explain it to people who didn't need to know? How did that feel? Like asking permission? Machiavelli's teaching: act. Then let results speak. Explanations are for the insecure. Results are the language of the powerful. Speak only results. Rule 3. Ignore low-value provocations completely. Not with anger. Not with disdain. With something far more powerful: total indifference. Indifference is not cruelty. It is categorization. It communicates, you are not significant enough to alter my emotional state. That is devastating. Drop this in the comments. I am done giving my energy to people who don't deserve my reaction. Done. No more. But there is a difference between true indifference and performed indifference. People can feel the performance. Only the real version has power. To achieve real indifference, you must first become genuinely invested in something more important than their opinion. Purpose creates immunity. Rule 4. Control what you reveal. Not to deceive, but because mystery is power. Fully known people are fully controllable people. You told them your fears, your past wounds, your deepest motivations. You thought it created intimacy. It created leverage they haven't used yet. Study the powerful. They share selectively. They speak in general terms about their past. They never hand over emotional ammunition unprompted. This does not mean become cold. It means become selective. Warmth without total exposure is not distance, it is dignity. Cultivate both. Rule 5. Never chase people who are pulling away from you. The chase signals desperation. Desperation signals weakness. Weakness invites predation. Think of every relationship where you chased harder and harder as they pulled further away. What happened the moment you stopped chasing? They came back. Or they didn't. Either outcome told you the truth about their value. And truth, even painful truth, is always more useful than illusion. Drop this in the comments. I will never chase approval again. Not from relationships. Not from crowds. Not from people who don't see my worth. Rule 6. Use strategic silence as your most powerful communication tool. Most people are terrified of silence. Use that terror against them. When someone speaks at you, trying to provoke or diminish you, silence is not retreat. Silence is a mirror. It reflects their behavior back. They expected resistance. Argument. Defense. When you give them silence instead, the argument collapses because silence cannot be argued with. Practice the 3-second pause before any important response. 3 seconds of silence before you speak changes how everything you say is received. The silence is not emptiness. It is compression. It is the psychological weight that makes your eventual words feel inevitable. Inevitable. Not arguable. Rule 7. Never reveal your full power. Let others underestimate you. An underestimated man walks freely where a feared man is constantly watched. People who broadcast their power constantly are insecure. True power doesn't need an audience. True power moves quietly through the room and leaves marks nobody traces back. Think of the most powerful people you have met personally. Did they announce themselves? Or did you feel their weight before they said a single word? That weight, that psychological gravity, is built from years of not reacting. Not explaining. Not chasing. Not over-revealing. Silence. Compounded. Drop this in the comments. I am building that weight. Starting today. Every silence. Every withheld reaction. Every unexplained decision. All of it compounds. Now the most painful rule. The one that will cost you a comfortable lie. Rule 7 extended. People do not want you powerful. They want you manageable. The people around you who smile the most at your struggles, they are not celebrating you. They are celebrating their own sense of relative safety. You make them feel safe by staying small. The same people who comfort you in failure become coldly distant in your success. Watch for this. This is the clearest test of authentic loyalty you have. Machiavelli knew, your power growth will cost you people. Let it. The right people rise with you. The wrong people were only comfortable with the version of you that needed them. You do not need their comfort. You need their honesty. And most people are only honest with you when your growth does not threaten their stagnation. Drop this in the comments. I will never shrink myself to make others comfortable. Never again. Growth is not cruelty. Stagnation is. These 7 rules collapse into one principle. You must become the most mysterious, composed, and purposeful presence in any room you enter. Not cold. Not cruel. Not aggressive. Simply, present. Controlled. Purposeful. Unreadable enough to be respected. Warm enough to be trusted. Never both at full capacity simultaneously. Machiavelli's final and deepest teaching is not about tactics. It is about this. Know yourself so completely that no one else's opinion of you can become your reality. When you know who you are, when you have done the solitary work of becoming psychologically grounded, their words become weather. You notice them. You are not changed by them. This is the endgame of all 7 rules. Not power over others. Power over the only person you were ever actually responsible for. Yourself. Only yourself. Every time you react, you are saying, your actions are more powerful than my peace. Every time you don't react, you are saying, nothing external governs me. Practice one rule this week. Just one. Never react. For 7 days, watch what people do when your reaction stops being available as a tool. Some will be confused. Some will be unsettled. Some will try harder to provoke you. All of these responses confirm that your old reaction was serving their needs, not yours. Drop this in the comments. I see the game now. And I will never unseen it. This is what changes everything. The seeing. The clear, cold seeing. You came to this video still carrying old patterns. Still reacting. Still explaining. Still chasing. Still shrinking. That version of you ends here. Right now. The old you is dead. The version that sought approval. That explained too much. That chased people who didn't want to be caught. Dead. You are a weapon. Pointed at your own future. Not at others. At your own destiny. At the version of yourself that lives completely on his own terms. You belong to no one. Not to their expectations. Not to their judgments. Not to their need for you to remain predictable, manageable, and small for their comfort. From this moment, you observe more than you speak. You reveal less than you know. You react to nothing that does not deserve your actual energy. You stop seeking fair. Fair is a fantasy. What you seek now is clarity. Strategic clarity about who serves your growth and who simply serves themselves using your openness. You understand now that silence is not emptiness. It is fullness. The fullness of a person whose internal world is so rich that external validation becomes irrelevant. The people who once confused you with their emotional games, you see them now for what they are. They are afraid. They are projecting. They are testing boundaries they expect to find soft. Find yours hard. Machiavelli survived execution. Survived exile. Survived the complete destruction of everything he built. How? He refused to let external circumstances define his internal state. That is not inspiration content. That is a practical psychological model. You build an internal world so solid that nothing external can perform a permanent demolition. Nothing. You now understand why they fear silence. Silence cannot be manipulated. Silence cannot be guilt. Silence cannot be baited into revealing what it knows. And now you understand why they fear your growth. Your growth is a mirror. It shows them what they chose not to become. Mirrors make cowards uncomfortable. Your silence will irritate them. Your calm will disturb them. Your unexplained decisions will unsettle them. Good. That discomfort means you are no longer easy to manage. The old version of you apologized for taking up space. For having opinions. For wanting things. For feeling things. Apologizing is over. Your existence needs no apology. Drop this in the comments. My existence needs no apology. None. Not to them. Not to anyone. I am here. I am building. I am becoming. Machiavelli did not write The Prince for Kings alone. He wrote it for every person who has ever been underestimated, betrayed, and told their power was inappropriate. He wrote it for you. The one watching this. The one who already suspected that the social game was real, was rigged, and was survivable with the right map. You now carry 7 rules that most people around you will never know exist. That asymmetry is your advantage. Protect it. Use it wisely. There is a person in your life right now who benefits from your reactivity. Who profits from your explaining. Who is comfortable because you are predictable. Identify them. You do not need to confront them. You do not need to explain your new awareness to them. Simply change your behavior. Watch what their behavior reveals in response. This channel exists for one purpose. Not entertainment. Not philosophy. Psychological survival in a world that has always rewarded strategic awareness over naive openness. If this video shifted something in you, even 1 degree, you are already different from who you were 12 minutes ago. That degree compounds. It always does. Every video here is a new degree. Every rule is a degree. You are not here for entertainment. You chose to be here because something in you knows you need this. Subscribe. Not because you want more videos. Because you are choosing psychological evolution over comfortable stagnation. That choice requires daily reinforcement. The next video will go deeper. The layers of human manipulation most people never see because they are looking for enemies when the danger was always closer. Much closer. That is not a teaser. That is a warning. A warning that the person most responsible for your vulnerabilities is not an enemy. It is an unexamined version of yourself. Before you go, one final thing from Machiavelli. He spent his final years in exile, writing, thinking, refusing to be defined by what was done to him. He wrote, "The first method for estimating intelligence is to look at the men they have around them." You now know what to look for. Look carefully. Your future depends not on what happens to you, not on what others decide. It depends entirely on how precisely you understand the game you are already playing. 7 rules. 1 principle. Infinite application. You already know what you need to do differently. You have always known. Today you simply gave yourself permission. You do not need to become cold. You need to become precise. Precision is not cruelty. It is the opposite. It is clarity that protects both you and everyone you truly care about. The people who deserve your full warmth will receive it, and more of it, because you will no longer be depleted by those who have been quietly taking what was never offered. You are not watching this by accident. Algorithms do not create this kind of recognition. Something in you found this because something in you already knew it was time. When you are ready to go further, the next level is already here. Stay close. What is coming will make this video look like the first paragraph of one very long truth. Final question. Leave it in the comments. What rule do you most wish someone had taught you before you spent years learning it through pain?